Alright, so when you're doing your squat, you want to set up your feet directly underneath your shoulders. Okay? So when your feet are directly underneath your shoulders, from there you want to drive your hips going backwards. Okay? So when you drive going backwards, pay attention to your knees, making sure they're not caving in. The best way to pay attention to your knees, making sure they're not caving in, is focus on your pinky toes. Make sure your pinky toes are pressing on the floor, on the lateral, on the outside at all times. So basically, as I'm going down, if I focus on my pinky toe, then my knees are not going to buckle. But as soon as my knees start to buckle, then it means my pinky toes are lifting off of the floor. Okay, you don't want your pinky toes lifting off of the floor. Press your pinky toes into the floor as you go down, 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 and then drive coming back up. I'll do the same thing from the side. Okay, now when you're watching from the side, make sure what you're looking for is from your hip to your knees. As soon as they line up parallel to the floor, that's where you want to come back up. Okay? You don't want your hips going too low because you don't want your lower back to curve. So basically from the side it should look like this and then come back up. I'll do that again. This and then come back up. This, here, and back up. Okay? So that's your squat from the side. So I'm going to show you from this angle where or how your pinky toes should behave when you're doing the squat. Okay? So just pay attention to from my pinky toe to my knee. Okay? So I set up, feet underneath my shoulders, and then as I go down, I'll do the wrong version first. Watch what happens to my toes. So as my knees are buckling, my toes are coming off the floor. My pinky toes are rolling off of the floor because I'm buckling. But if I really press my pinky toe into the floor, it should almost feel like I'm doing this, but not really. So I'm going to go down and drive back up. Go down, drive back up. So another good way to make sure you're doing your squat properly is to use a band. So you have the band on there. Obviously, as the band is on here, it's not going to allow me to cave, but rather if I actually push the band out as I go down, boom, every time, boom, every time, boom, every time. So use a band if you have a band. Otherwise, just focus on your pinky toes and on your knees. Make sure they're not buckling and you should be good to go. Alternatively, you could also get a bench. This way you can go low. So if you're watching from where you are, you'll find that this is perfect height for me, in that from my hips to my knees are already parallel to the floor. So this is actually a perfect stop for me where I'll go this low and I'll come back up. So find one that actually it should be in line with your knees when you sit down. You don't want one that's too low because then your knees are going to be higher. And then so basically from here, I'll go back up, here. So now it's a good way for me to learn how deep I need to go when I'm doing my squats. So down here and up, down here and up. Biggest thing you want to focus on when you're doing the squat is at the top of the squat, you want to squeeze. Okay? You don't want to do a squat and then just stop here. Go all the way, squeeze. Down here, come up, squeeze. Come up, squeeze. Come up, squeeze. That's your squat.